are good. You're on.
You are nothing to do.
You are live. You're live, Mike.
All right, it's 2 minutes after 3. We're going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to start with number 1, privilege of the floor. As I gaze out into the crowd, I see a lot of blank looks. So actually, someone walked in. John, are you here for privilege of the floor?
Not yet.
That sounds ominous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move from privilege of the floor to approval of the meetings. Let's look at the April 4th meetings. Meetings.
Yes. Line.
Well, you guys are going to have to step up for those.
April 4th.
Hi, Chris.
Line 18, do we mean shorter terms? Is that a shortened terms?
For short term.
Short term. Line 30, covered all town. Elections, I believe. Which was not repaired or replaced?
Line 75.
75.
Which is not repaired last year. Yes.
Not repaired. I had, did anyone have any corrections? I had a couple.
Just a minor.
I had a minor one on line 25. That Mark reviews that one of the supervisors instead of the supervisor. That make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, one,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
one,
Oh.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then on line 50, throw an S on call, calls. Please. And those are all I had in that one. Anybody else want to do that? All right, I can excuse myself for the next one. Not here. I was on the phone for a little bit, but after that, I left. Okay. And the one I had was line 82. Drug take back, yeah, today is April 28th, not May 20th, correct. Yeah, so.
Yes.
And it should be take back, just as take, so everyone's supposed to take drugs.
Oh, goodness.
Drug take day.
I have actually,
Drug take.
I've actually
We're happy
been to
to
that
know.
one in the past. I'll tell you, it was very poorly organized.
You remember it? I'm surprised you remember.
Oh my God.
Um,
Hilarious.
Let's see, we're on the 11th, yes?
Yes.
The
I
29th.
took that day off.
The 29th is the drug take.
Drug take. Take your
Because you get them
drug.
all back in on the 20th.
Everybody. So, I believe Margaret was the one who opened the,
Saturday.
yes, call to line 15.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't there.
Line 15.
Oh, yes.
Vice chair.
Line 23, and I promise I'll hold my inner grammarian in very, very strong check, but there should be a comma after merchants, otherwise it's confusing.
I think you lost us for Mary.
This is going to be a good meeting.
Yeah, 27. Something doesn't make sense. Comments at the stairs have that he believes,
Oh, couple of that's.
and that the stairs have that he believes.
I think it means
Something quite
the
doesn't.
stair.
He
I think
believes
it's
that
just
the
that.
stairs.
Yeah,
The
comments
stairs.
that he believes that there are issues with attaching the stairs.
Right.
That's something to do. I was there, and I,
There you go. Thank you.
no problem. 35. Don't thank me yet. 35. Should it be he suggested they use or the use of? The use of.
The use of.
The use of. Okay. Wait, there's more. I didn't understand line 80, so that doesn't help me now. I should find line 80.
I have those after 179.
There you go.
In
Yeah,
absence,
yeah. Chief Dave Noyes
In the
reports and
absence.
Chris Hodges vacation.
in absence of.
Yes.
Okay. We got 82. 126. I couldn't resist this one. I'm sorry.
Which one?
Line 126. Yeah, I held myself in check. The bond bank terms also fit into the SIPA and do not. This is what you get when you're young. Visions of nuns hitting me with a ruler. That's all I'll say. I've been scarred for life.
Another one of those.
Yeah, scarred for life.
I like parochial school.
Are you all set now?
I am.
Mark, you got
I
anything?
am all set.
All right, let's make a motion to approve both sets of meetings, which I will make a motion to approve both sets of meetings in a minute meeting.
Minutes.
Meeting minutes as amended.
There we go. Since you made the motion, I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, done. All right, so we're gonna move on. I see we have some celebrities in the crowd today that probably have better things to do with themselves. So if it's okay, then we're gonna skip it around and we'll deal with the Silver Fox Inn sign first. And I will defer to Rich from the planning board to discuss that.
Okay, so at the last meeting, it was brought to the board's attention that the agreement that we thought we were working through with the owner of the Silver Fox Inn was no longer operative. That's a fancy way of saying that
Excuse me, is this the current owner or the previous owner?
the current owner, yes.
Current.
Current owner, yes. In that we thought that the sign that is in place now was going to be replaced with a new sign so that it comports with the signage and the zoning ordinance. However, we were told at the last meeting that that was not necessarily the case, and in fact that the sign that was recently put in place as the Best Western sign actually should be grandfathered because according to the sign code and regulations, it has maintained in form and color, replaced in kind, and not changed any of its dimensions, height, diameter, width, thickness, comfort, perimeter, or relocated. So given that the signs are actually look different, the Best Western sign and this sign, the board asked the planning board for their sense of what they thought this particular passage meant in the sign code and regulations with regard to the sign. And as the selectman ex officio on the planning board, I raised it, and the sense of the planning board, as I understood it, was that the sign that is presently installed is not, I guess the best way to put it is not in form or color or in kind the same sign that was, or the sign that was there when it was a Best Western. So that therefore it needs a new sign. We need to have a new sign permit. So, and now Mark, you were there as well. Did you want to add
Yeah,
anything?
no,
to
that's correct. So
to that?
the changes that were made to the sign did
Yeah.
change it in color and form
And yeah,
in the opinion of the
Yes.
planning board, and that they recommended back to the selectmen
that it was
that
not
the
in
selectmen,
right,
it was not in compliance
compliance
with
with the sign
sign
regulations.
regulations.
Or not in kind. There's another
In kind.
in kind.
Define in kind and compliance is the difference, and what is that difference? Tracy?
So
Well, the key was looking at, as I understood it from and talking it through with the board. I don't have, I believe, the pictures with me, but two pictures. Thank you. Two pictures were put in front, and basically the board said that the previous sign, the Best Western sign, is not the same as that sign, and that's what the planning board meant by color and in kind.
But weren't we, I'm coming to this late, I wasn't here for either of these hearings.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't we told that,
Right.
weren't we told that we as a board cannot dictate what is written on a sign? Okay, just let me keep on going with this thought.
Yeah.
So if the sign, to me, these signs look like they are the same colors in the same frame. Am I correct with that? It's blue and white. Am I right? Blue and white? So if it's blue and white in the same thing and it's not illuminated or anything that was different from the past sign, we as a board cannot say you could write the silver mud hen place on it, but if it's the same color, same size, and all of that, we have to grandfather. So the question I have is, why are we not grandfathering it? Because I'm, coming from a layman's point of view, I'm just seeing the same block with different stuff that's the same colors.
Well, that's where but the planning board, that was not, when they looked at those two signs,
Yep.
they said that they were different colors and they were not in kind the same sign. Now, if they're blue and white, and I'm just telling you what they said, I'm not making a judgment as to whether or not that's correct. But because this one is white with the dark lettering and this one is blue and white with the white lettering, they said that the color had changed and that would trigger a sign permit requirement in this case.
All right.
And they also questioned whether or not that would then trigger the fact that it's enforcement of the new regulations, which say that it cannot be an internally lit sign. They did not make any call on that. The planning board did not.
Are internally lit signs grandfathered?
No. Well,
If they were in existence
if they
prior
were in
to,
existence prior to, and if they did not change in form and color, then they would be grandfathered.
But this is where I'm confused. Because if we are told by the state that we cannot dictate what is written on a sign.
It's not about what's written.
But
it's
I'm
about
seeing,
they're
I'm seeing blue and white. It doesn't matter to me if it's.
And that's your call. If that's what the Board of Selectmen
I'm just
said,
giving my
this
opinion.
was their
this
view
was
of the
their
matter.
view of the matter
When
was
we
that
raised
it
the
did
question,
change.
when we raised the question
That's
to
right.
them.
You asked them to tell you whether or not they felt that it was in keeping with that paragraph, whether or not it changed in form and color. And the planning board said, yes, it did. That was the vote. But they have no enforcement authority. It's still up to you. And if you feel that it is the same.
Can I ask Matt a question? This is not the permanent sign here, the silver box, correct?
Correct.
What if you were to do this in dark blue with white lettering? Would that be an issue you guys would consider?
The final sign.
Well, but can I just, before we go there, I'm confused now as to what the plan is for the sign.
The plan is to update the sign in time as our budgeting and all that allows.
Okay. So you're going to change the sign?
In time, we'd like to, yeah.
Right. Do you have any timeline on that?
We don't.
Okay. So it's an
Would you say a
aspiration.
year?
We had to switch it out because of the Best Western, the
Yeah.
pre-warning would get
Right.
fined for it, so we
Right.
had to switch it out as fast as we could.
Because I think the
And we
sense of the
switched it
board-
out with what the sign was
Right.
prior to
Yeah.
being
Right.
Best
I
Western.
mean, 'cause I think the way we had understood it was that we were moving down that path, and frankly, we were just going to say, that's fine, just give us a date was when you're going to change it, and then we're fine with the way it is.
And
But
if you can't
that
change
seemed
it
to
in time,
change.
you can apply for a new temporary permit. Or do we only have one temporary permit?
Well, there is no.
No, there's no temporary permit. The question was, did they have to come to the town and get a permit? That was.
For this sign.
For this
For
sign.
this sign.
And the issue was, did it change
Okay.
so that they required a permit? Or was it simply the same sign and they could do what they want under the zoning ordinance? Because the ordinance is clear, if you're not changing the color or the form of the sign, then you don't have to get a permit. That's allowed.
I don't think they are.
Well, and
That's just my thought.
that's up to you guys to vote on and say whether or not they have to, because we can.
What do you think?
well, we have
If
an
you want.
entire planning board who says right?
Did I hear, John?
Can
You
I
have a
speak?
comment?
Yeah.
Yes.
You did not hear the entire planning board vote on that.
Was it
One
taken to a
person
vote?
that spoke on it.
Or was it taken to a vote at the planning board?
No, it was not.
Okay.
I'm sorry, John, but I believe it was voted upon.
I did not vote on that.
Did you abstain or was there no vote taken?
There was no vote taken.
Mark, were you at the planning board?
Yeah, I'm
Hold on, I have the minutes, I
I
believe.
needed more clarification to vote on that, and there was no vote. I'm like you, I'm still a little confused.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I believe I have those minutes. I didn't ask you. Okay, minutes, sign notes. So this is what the draft minutes say. Rich Rita has a question about the sign ordinance because of conversation that came up in front of the Board of Selectmen. The board is looking for the planning board's sense of the issue of being able to change the color of a sign but maintaining the dimensions of the sign. The planning board has stated that if a sign has changed in kind, then it changes the grandfather status of the sign. Terry said that if a business wants to put up a new sign, they lose the grandfather status and a new sign would have to meet the current regulations.
Right, Terry said that, not the board. There was no vote taken.
I'm sorry, John. I thought we voted.
We did not.
I thought that was the sense of what we did. Because I came away from that believing that the planning board had said that it considered the sign to be not grandfathered.
Terry did say that, but there was not a vote taken.
All right, well, we're going around in circles, I guess, at
We
this
are.
point.
So
Yeah.
I guess we are no place further than we were a month ago.
well,
Because we have not been asked to take an enforceable action.
yes, you have.
Without a vote, we haven't.
I think the selectmen can make that final
The
decision.
selectmen you have authority. All you did was
Oh, I
ask for
understand,
their
but
opinion.
I don't want to usurp the planning. You
There's
know,
no usurping the planning board. It's your decision. It's not their decision.
We asked them
You
simply
asked
for an
them for a
opinion.
Right, but we don't
sense
have
for
one. that we don't have a unified opinion from the planning.
Well, I would dispute that.
Oh, okay,
But
I think we should go ahead with what we were planning to do originally.
yes,
Give
that's
a
where I want to land in the end of all of this.
Yes, all right.
That's what I'm
temporary,
hoping for.
would you apply for a temporary permit, please?
Well,
No,
No, you can't.
No, not apply for a permit.
Right.
We would make the decision as selectmen to give a temporary allowance or that
But-
kind of thing for the sign, and we can put a date on it.
I
And
think that's all we were looking for
Yeah.
when I thought we got derailed. So that was the curveball at the last meeting, the meeting before, no, the last meeting, no, the meeting before last, I'm sorry.
we were
Which was
talking about
Right.
giving temporary approval until the new sign.
Oh, we needed
But
a
then
date
we
on
needed
that.
a date, and now we're hearing, well, we're not quite sure what the date is, so I think we should pick a date, 6
All right.
months from now.
All right,
I, from Waterville Valley Resort standpoint, I think you're playing in a gray area here. Based on how this is written, this does not fit into it. You're picking the color as a gray area to play in and decide how commerce and business is going to be handled in this town. And we don't believe that in this particular one, you have the place to tell us exactly how it's going to be done.
I wouldn't go with that, Matt. What I would say is we are trying to get, and the reason we went to the planning board is we are trying to get the intent of the planning board in creating the new regulations. And we haven't had a complete intent statement by the planning board because it hasn't been resolved yet.
Okay.
So I think it's in everyone's best interest to go with a temporary permit now.
It's,
And-
however, it's grandfathered. There's no
That's what
permit
is disputed.
required.
That's what's in dispute,
Exactly.
that it's grandfathered. Right.
So show me where it's not.
Well, if you want to get into it,
Well,
if
I
they
don't
want to
think you
say
wanna
the
go
change
down
and
that.
the reversing of these colors, if you want to get
I don't think
adversarial
you wanna
about
go
it,
down
I don't want to get into
Well,
it, but
we're trying to work with you. We're trying to make this work, and we're trying to make this work where the respect that student planning board is theirs to get their intent on why these regulations were created. And so,
I'm just floored how much time and effort goes into this. matter.
So
There's a lot,
There
lot of
are-
other things that
There are
happen in
things I
this
would
town.
much rather be doing myself now.
I'll discuss it with Tim and see how he wants to move forward with that.
Well,
I'm not in a position to tell you what his thing is going to do. You guys are going to vote how you're going to vote, and we'll move forward accordingly.
Or we won't vote,
Or we won't vote, yeah.
or we'll do nothing at this point.
What do you suggest, Rich? Because you're sitting on both sides of,
Both sides of the, yeah, well, I don't see the pressing need to vote necessarily, since
Okay.
the sign is there, and we're not going to, we don't want to,
all right, so will you make a motion to table this?
I will make a motion to table this for further discussion.
Is there a
All
second?
right, second,
All in favor?
I,
Aye, we are tabled.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now, we
just to be clear, Matt, nobody thinks that you should be in a position where you have an ongoing concern in town that doesn't have a sign in front of it identifying it.
Mhm.
You know, that's.
I agree.
we're just trying to get in a position where we don't create a precedent that is going to bite us, you know, in years to come with someone who is not as cooperative.
I get that.
I think we just, let me discuss it with Terry.
Yeah.
And see what they want,
Okay.
what they want to do.
Appreciate your time.
Okay. We will move on, and I see, to skip around a little bit more, we have a gentleman from the ice arena here.
Yep, Lori is here.
So why don't we start talking about the ice arena?
Okay.
Lori, you want to come up?
You have an item, you have a proposal in your packet from,
As long as they don't want a sign.
We've already told them they couldn't have an 80 by 80 foot sign.
That's an old.
That was before you had here.
Good.
so we have Sprinkler System Inc. Proposal in here for a scope.
And these are the only people that are doing this work in this area?
Yeah, well, and they've done all of the work in
Okay.
the arena before, so we'd like to continue on with them doing the work.
Found a different.
Yeah. So they have, scope one is to replace a 3-inch main.
Yeah, it's several sections of the 3-inch main. There's a few spots on the lines that are actually separated, and you can see rusted spots and places where water expanded within the pipes and cracked them. Scope one essentially addresses all the obvious broken spots. You can see where there are broken sprinkler heads and separated pipes. So scope one takes care of all the obvious broken spots. Beyond that, there's probably damage that we can't see because it's an airtight system. It's a dry system. It's not pressure charged all the time. The way it works is if one of the heads breaks, it drops a clapper and water comes to the system. So because of that, we have to be able to put air to it to find the smaller leaks. And alternative one and alternative two both address those things to a different degree. So the sprinkler company recommends that we replace all 180 sprinkler heads in the building, because once you get freezing going on behind and around those heads, they can be damaged and be faulty a lot more frequently than brand new heads would be. That is part of the reason we're in this mess to begin with. And then alt two is replacing the 1-inch branch lines off of the 3-inch mains that run parallel to the surface. We are unsure of how many fittings that are around those that are broken or the pipes themselves, because we have to fix the 3-inch mains to figure that out first. So it's somewhat of we have to go along with scope one and figure out where we go from there. But I would say that those two numbers, the 7,000 and 8,000 numbers, are probably going to be pretty close to what we need to do. And I would also suggest replacing all those things, because we don't want to be sitting in the same boat 2 years from now.
Rory, what's the cost of the things that they are saying are excluded? The lift, the seismic bracing, electrical painting, patching.
So electrical is just, plugging into the outlets at the rink. The seismic bracing is all in place. It's what's holding up the piping. The lift I priced out at around $2,000, but we're going to that is gonna be in the cost of this, but I believe the arena is gonna split the cost with the town because we have other things we need to do, we have other things we need to look for. And then painting, patching, I think painting is, I think we quoted it around $200 at the very most.
And if we do all this, if we do both alternatives on this and everything, do we have pretty much a new system in there, or is there still a section we're gonna have to worry in some stuff?
Well, essentially, yeah, they're gonna check everything, and they're gonna flush it all out, and they're gonna scope it all out and make sure that there's no rust or buildup on the inside.
And I can't think of a time, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of a time when we have flushed the entire system this way.
Yeah.
This way, no.
So,
I mean,
so we're like 20, this is 20 years or
Yeah, no,
more
I've
since
got you.
we
The concern I
did this
have
the last
is
time.
that are we leaving a section that we should address now while we're doing everything?
As far as I know, no.
No, I think by doing
That's the
both
whole
alt
system.
one and alt
Yeah.
two,
Alright.
then we're doing the whole system.
Chris, are you're in favor of this? You think it's?
I'm in favor if we can doing the whole thing with the caveat that you gotta have a maintenance program with it and have it get inspected.
Absolutely.
Theoretically, they should never freeze. The dry system should never freeze.
Yeah, they
So
shouldn't.
at some point, it got charged, and no one knew it.
What do you mean by charge?
The water.
Water got into?
Water went
Yeah.
into it.
So these are the sprinklers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the ceilings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So water in there and the
And then
pipes
it's
expand?
Yeah,
And is there something we get that will monitor that? We
yeah.
don't have to-
I mean, I think I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rory, and I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I think it happened when Rory wasn't real familiar with the system. And correct me if I'm wrong, if there was something else. And it just happened. I mean, it happens every year to somebody.
Okay. But kind of a meter or a gauge that can be put on the system.
There
that
is,
will
there
Let
is.
us know if there's
Yeah.
moisture in it, so.
I'm
we
gonna
can
speak
gauge
with
and stuff.
Mango Securities about installing something like that because we have phone lines that go to our alarm system in the same room. So
Right.
I would hope that.
And then that should trigger a trouble alarm,
Yeah.
which will alert Rory and his staff that they can come in and drain
does
it,
know-
reset
Drain
the
it.
flapper,
Yeah.
and
Do we know the cost of something like that approximately?
it should be minimal. I mean, that's not.
It's part of their other alarm
System.
systems with the other equipment on the compressors and things like
Yeah,
that.
that's just something that's separate from the
All right.
sprinkler systems company.
All right.
So I would, this is $40,000 plus, say, another 2,000 for the other. So
Right.
if you could authorize up to 42,000, we have the 86
Right.
that I have put in your
Right.
packets.
All right, so let's take a second here if we have time. Let's not be short-sighted. Is there anything else you see that you think could be presenting an issue that we should be dealing with before it becomes an expensive issue?
No, but I definitely want to be sure that when the company is in there, they're very thorough. We did have them flush out the system last March, and I thought that they would have uncovered any leaks or
So do you have the same people that flushed it out and didn't find the problem, and now we have the problem?
That's my concern. I've shopped around for other companies,
Yeah.
other pipe fitting companies, and there's just no one willing to come up to the valley. So unfortunately, my
Chris,
hands are
you look
somewhat
like you wanna
tied
say
with this.
Well, I can say that those systems can deteriorate quite rapidly as well.
I
So
mean, in a year, 6-8 months.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's like Rory says, it's rust. So it may hold and hold and hold, but there's at some point it's gonna give out, and it's a fine line between what is good and what is bad. So.
It's also because it's a pressurized system.
Yeah.
And as soon as that breaks, then, the whole thing fills up and it froze over that week Christmas when it was below zero.
Now, is there any other maintenance that you guys are doing on an ongoing basis throughout the building that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, they've already talked to you about we've talked about the
Oh, yeah.
dehumidifier wheel that they're fixing.
And that
which is-
might also have something to do with it because if there was warm air being put into that system, water could condense on the outside pipes if the humidity's not.
Yeah, the other thing too is if it gets charged, you get a water hammer on it, which can
What's a
be.
water hammer?
It's like when you shut off the sink real fast and you hear it go thug. It's just pressure
Oh, okay.
doing this. So if the system gets charged and water hammers the system, it's much more pressure than what they would do and a flush and a pressure check. So that could have, you know, just the water handler itself.
And everything else is in good shape, Rory? You know,
Definitely. This is one of those things that it's the oldest system in the rink.
Yeah.
It's, you know, predated even the compressor system.
and the Zamboni's working fine and all that stuff.
Yep. Zamboni.
Yeah, we don't hear from you very often, so.
No,
I'm gonna start
Well,
coming to these-
well,
I gotta
it's
start coming to
just-
these meetings.
Yeah.
So.
That's good.
Yeah, right, good. Anyone want to make a motion to approve $42,000 for ice arena repairs to come out of the capital reserve account for the ice arena?
I think we used it.
Does anyone want to second that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you very much, Roy. Good luck with us.
And wait, do they say when they're gonna be able to come up for that?
They said it'd probably be within 1 or 2 weeks of getting this process going. So hopefully it'll get.
So
here.
do you need me to sign this in? PDF
Yeah,
back to you?
yeah, I'll send it to you in an email.
Okay,
I'll
good.
also touch base with you afterwards at the.
Okay. Good, thank
Do we
you.
have Warriors June 1st?
Yes, the first weekend of June, so that's. our
Is that
target
gonna
is
be?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Perfect.
Yeah, good, all right.
Okay, let's look at the financials. Water is high, is that, do we get the chemicals in? Or is that?
Yes,
for-
no, that's the
The generator?
the annual water monitoring report that we have to do on well 4.
Is this a new expense this year?
No, this is our ongoing,
Okay,
this is year 4 or 5 that we've done this. It's a $26,000 report that comes in January, February.
all right.
And then after a while, it goes away, right?
Hopefully, once it's been negative again, so hopefully another 2 or 3 years and we should be able to request to stop.
Okay. All right, any other questions on, okay, we'll move on from financial to calendar review. Next meeting is the 16th.
Yep, May 16th and then the 30th.
All right.
Planning board's next meeting is May 10th.
Great. The matter, you still here for the administrative abatement for WESR? I guess not.
I'll be here for as long as you need me to be here. Everyone's on vacation. I got called in for being here, so I'm yours.
Okay, then we'll move on. I don't see Brooke here.
No, she's on vacation.
All right, there's always a lot of stuff. with-
We are closed at the
Yeah.
rec this week. They're redoing the floor, so.
All right. Hey, Chris, what's going on?
Not much. No, we're doing a lot of maintenance. On vacation this week. We're doing a lot of maintenance. We did, they're going over the ladder truck right now. I'm doing the whole 5-year test on it.
Okay.
So they couldn't finish it today because of the rain, but they're gonna come back and give us a full report on that. So that's a big deal. Something we've been trying to get done for a while. So we did our full test for our air packs today. That's an annual thing that we have to. We have the drug take back on Saturday. Oh yeah, we just took delivery of the new cruiser yesterday. So we're getting that ready to go to get detailed and
Where's that go?
decals. It goes to Ashland for decals to Jay Demers.
Oh, okay.
JB Sign. Is it JB?
I know, Jay.
And then it will go up to Littleton to get lights and radios and equipment.
So what do you think, a week before it's on the road?
Right.
What?
No, it'll be probably three weeks to a month.
Wow.
It takes a while to get on the schedule for the lights and electronics will probably take the longest.
Yeah, a couple of weeks for those and a week with Jay.
So our new officer is halfway through school.
Joe?
Yeah.
Yep, he's actually a little more than halfway. His graduation is May 11th.
11.
So it's May 11th, Friday, May 11th.
Great. And
And he's doing well.
how about filling in other part-timers and other people? We talked about changing our rate for part-time working. Is that attracting people from other
municipalities?
Well, we just changed the rates after town meeting, so we haven't full return on that. We haven't really stepped out to see it. Some of the guys are just now getting notified of the new rates because they have to sign a date change. So everyone obviously seems very happy and eager to work. So we'll see what happens from there.
And our next big event is Fishing Derby.
Yes, it's Memorial Day Saturday.
Great. All right, Tim.
Things are fairly quiet. We plowed and salted, hopefully for the last time last Friday.
Why did you say that?
I know. It's like guaranteed to snow tomorrow.
Yeah. So, testing.
If we really turn the corner.
That's right. So, unfortunately, we did have to order some more salt because we were out of it. And I didn't want to, given the weather, I didn't want to go without it. So
if you
hopefully
have
there
any
it
fish
sits
that you
until
order,
November, October, and November. Hopefully for the mountain's sake, it's October. But, other than that, waiting for things to break and clean it. I did get notified that we got bumped on our new 550. So instead of being in at the end of June, it'll be here in August sometime.
And we pre-ordered that, didn't we?
We did pre-order it, and we got bumped out of production until the next production go around. So we will be taking delivery of the 2019 instead of the 2018.
Or will we be able to get through the summer without it?
We still have the old 550, the one that this one will replace. We should hopefully be good to go.
All right, and all of our equipment's in good shape, and our staff, the new guys, liking his job.
Yeah, working out well. So everybody seems to be happy.
Yeah. All right. Any word on well 3? I don't see.
We haven't been able to get out there yet. We're waiting, and we've got to wait until the ground is clear of snow and dries out. So it's going to be a while.
It's gonna be a while. There's still a lot of snow
Yeah,
on the
there's-
woods.
So I'd say probably another month or so.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. And what about the wastewater treatment plant improvements? A blank look comes across his face.
No.
No.
It's
I
all
think
In your packet, I said I'd like to table this until the May 16th meeting
Okay.
because we're gathering we need some more information before we come to
What kind of information are we looking for?
financial information on
Pricing.
budget pricing
Okay.
for things.
Now, didn't we approve some things at town
Yeah.
meeting there?
Yeah, so
And
that's what we want to update you on, but we need some more pricing before we.
I thought we had pricing to come up with at the meeting.
Yeah, we have the budget numbers, but we
Okay, so
need to
so you're finding
finalize.
this stuff a lot cheaper. I think.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
Okay.
we're making the attempt.
We're making the attempt at
Okay.
finding it cheaper.
All right.
All right?
Well, let's go to the administrative abatement for the ski area.
Yeah, this is an abatement that should have been in a few meetings ago approved for abatement, abatements. There should have been 5. This should have been included. There was an incorrect entry in their assessing information. When they took down the competition center building and then built the new lift shack for the lift that they moved over, we didn't put the assessing numbers in the right spot. So this tax bill was sent out incorrectly for the second half of 2017. So that's what this abatement
And
is.
the abatement is for $170.78.
It is for
No, $626.78.
626.
Any discussion on that?
No.
Can I get a motion to approve the abatement?
I so move.
Is there a
A
second?
second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that's done. All right, let's talk about Mr. Schimmel and his cemetery plot request.
Yep. You have the letter from him. His dad was not a resident or property owner, but the Schemmel family has been. And so Mr. Schemmel was requesting that he be allowed to purchase a lot at the cemetery to
And then
bury his father.
his father is deceased, correct?
His father is deceased.
So it's not a future.
No, this is a
Purchase.
current need that they want to bury his father.
Whether it's cremation, did he?
He didn't say in his
Cremating,
letter,
so-
but I'm assuming it's cremation
Mhm.
because, he said, he sent us the letter. He wasn't, it wasn't like a phone call that they needed
Something
to do the
soon.
burial right away.
Right.
So they can't do the burial up there right now anyway, probably because of the weather. But
Nothing's impossible.
yeah, it would be
And
difficult.
he also said that hopefully he won't be joining them anytime
That's right, anytime
I
soon,
said
so
that it's not cremation.
I'm assuming,
Yeah, presumably this is gonna be a lot for.
This would be a family.
for 4, yeah.
And it's not in a situation where someone is allowed to pre-buy, pre-need, which is something.
That's right. This is, so it does meet the regulations in the sense that the need exists right now. It's not a pre-buy, so it's just the property owner status part of the regulations.
All right, I don't have a problem with it. Anybody else?
No.
No.
All right, would someone make a motion to approve this?
I move that we approve Mr. Schemmel's request to be allowed to bury the remains of his father in Waterville Valley Cemetery.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's talk about the town entrance project.
Yeah, good news, we're moving ahead. We have, the engineers are actually out there working. Jim has been working with the survey team, and we've marked out all of the utilities out there. The engineers are continuing to work on the road plan. The town core working group has had a telephone conversation with, they reviewed the application that we received. We solicited 3 different proposals. We received one back on the sign design company. Did a telephone interview and reviewed that and selected Wood and Wood, which you approved last meeting. So we've had another telephone conversation with them in detail over the options, and they're currently working on 2 options to give us.
Yeah, we'll get a couple variations of each one to boil it down to 2 final to present as scheduled.
Yeah, it'll be May 30th through not 20th.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So by May 30th, you're going to have 2 renderings, full renderings.
Mhm.
They're going to work with the town engineer and try to put those into some sort of photograph or something that we can present of generally what it would look like in the street. So you're going to be able to visualize it. We'd like to advertise the 30th as a public hearing to take public comment on those 2 options, and then have you select one of those options.
Are you gonna post
So-
them, the
Yeah, we
renderings
can
somewhere
post them
before?
around town.
Yeah, we can post them however you like, and then one
At
of the
the
things,
post office or
Post
whatever.
office,
Yeah.
probably the best place.
one of the things that they do is they will make a full life size on a banner to put in locations.
Yeah,
so
and we're
people
gonna,
can
we're
look at
gonna
it.
put up,
Wait. Is it possible we can have this here for Memorial Day, when we're gonna have a lot of people here? I think it would have a more effect and make it more inclusive.
I think we planned
well,
on that originally
actually,
the 16th.
actually,
It will create some excitement if we have it on display at the fishing derby and all the other events that are gonna be here. I think one of our main goals for this is to make everyone, meaning non-voters, property owners, feel included in this.
well,
So
what
if we can
even
make that
better,
effort.
even better, they do a full life-size mock-up. And they will actually put it beside the road where it's
But
going
will
to
it be
be.
built up? Will it be able to get it?
Yeah, they're gonna put it at generally the hole that the sign.
Yeah, it's an image on a vinyl
Right.
banner that they'll
Right.
put up with stakes. Now, the thing is at this time, looking at 2. So do we want to pay them to create 2 of those? Normally they just do it down to the, and it's kind of like a final, hey, are you sure this is what you want?
Here's how we described it to the town at the vote, and the concern that a lot of people have. A lot of people want to be involved in the selection process. So I think if it costs us a little bit more money to make people feel included and be part of the selection process, I think that's what the wish of the people is. So that people say Memorial Day weekend.
Is that before?
So a day for show, a day for go. So we'll have the day we can show folks for Memorial Day weekend, and then on the 30th we have further discussion.
Well, I think,
on May 30th, get the actual vote
Oh,
and
okay, got
move
it.
forward with.
or let people vote Memorial Day weekend. Create some ballot boxes where people
Town Square.
would have to put their names and addresses on this instead of people stuffing the box.
Oh, whatever,
Yeah, but
whatever they want to do.
Town Square, maybe. I think
I could do an online thing too.
Beg pardon?
Could do an online vote.
Yeah,
Could vote at the town.
but I think it accomplishes what we wanted to do as far as making everyone involved in town as part of us stepping into the 22nd century. With, signage, streets and everything else.
So let's talk about that as the town core working group as to how we'd like to present that, because it'll be difficult if we have different signs up there. It might cause some confusion, but let's figure out how to
Yeah, there's a couple.
how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So I really think, we're gonna have all the engineering stuff done. So we will be able to, and we are planning to also have the road repair proposals back to us by the 30th so that we can get your vote to select that contractor. Because we'd like to begin to move forward on the construction of the sign and get on the contractor's schedule, and especially the paving contractor. Because that's going to be the thing that holds it the most. So,
That's correct.
right? So all the decisions made on the 30th is our target.
What are you paving? Just getting booked out for the
Well, the
summer?
contractor, you're going to have to get proposals,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully more.
This is
than
like,
one.
so,
Yeah, it's super.
and it could very well be, because there's not very much, site work, right? It's a big paving job, but it does get, we want to get going, but
Okay.
I don't want to get everybody's hopes up and say that, we can't get a contractor in here until the fall.
They hope we'll be able to.
We hope we're gonna try like that.
Yeah, no, I got you. Right, so that's our update on that.
That's everything I have.
All right, let's move on to the always exciting bond paperwork.
You skipped the dam?
Oh, no, actually, I would have loved to skip the dam. Let's talk about the dam.
Well, the dam is good news. It's,
You said 75% approved.
yeah, the 75% design has been approved, but even more importantly than that, the split construction season has been approved.
Yep.
And as far as the dam bureau is concerned, the downstream crossing is okay. So we will include in our wetlands permit application that is part of the work that the dam engineers.
Are we gonna
do.
go back where it used to be?
Where it used to be, but it's not gonna be a wooden bridge or anything. It's going to be
Metal
a
expand.
probably a couple of culvert pipes covered up by dirt and gravel and rock.
All right.
And they will create a path, basically.
Now, are you familiar with that used to be? Were you here when that was there before?
It's across from Soyal, right?
Yeah.
Behind Soyal.
Yeah.
So did I get everything?
Yes, it's easy to get that approved than it would be a structure,
Are they
in
gonna,
case we had an event.
look for railings so that people don't fall off the culverts and then the creek?
Whatever you.
Right.
Still people are gonna fall off. the path.
They've been known
We'll
to drink
we'll
in
keep
town,
it.
you know? Yeah.
We'll keep it.
So
All right, so
that
that's,
looks like we're gonna be able to appease everybody in theory on getting this project done.
Yeah.
Just need
We're
some
still,
pictures of the
Yeah.
stairs with the.
yes, we will, they're working on that design now. We gave them that guidance for attaching it to the building. With a roof.
And the start date? Still-
Well, we're still on track. If we can get 100% of, the 100% plan approved this summer, early summer, then we're gonna get it out to bid and start right after Columbus Day. We're still on track for that schedule.
I mean, that's about the only way we can get it done in time, right? We're gonna do a
That's the
2-season.
only way we can do a 4-month,
Yeah.
2-season.
Should we ask them to put in writing suspension of the fines based on the split season?
Well, what I would like to do is, I'd like to get 100% approval.
Right.
Get it out to bid.
Make sure
See
we
where
have-
the bids come back with the split season, because I think that is potential cost issue. And then we can have that conversation with DES and make sure that they're on board. Okay, this is because then the contractor can give us a timeline for the whole project, and we can say, if we have a crappy spring like we're having right now, we are going to have to adjust. So we may have to go to a 3rd season.
That's why I wanted to see if there's the fine suspended.
Yeah, and that's,
Well, the fines don't kick in.
the fines don't kick in until January 1st, 2020.
2020.
So,
But still, I just want to make sure that if we're gonna go to this, who knows what we're gonna unearth when we start digging? You know what I mean?
we're going to know this.
I know we're gonna find a lot of cell phones and
We're
it's
gonna
no more
know
than
this.
cameras. But I just want to make sure we don't wind up in a situation where all of a sudden
Yep.
our best laid plans are gone like, holy crap, what are we gonna do now?
We will, yes, that will be an issue for this fall. When we start doing, okay?
Now we can do the bonds.
Okay,
Yes, because it's ultra exciting.
you can see Chairman Trump if you like.
No, thank you.
All right, so you have the paperwork in your packet. There are basically 2 sets of paperwork. Sharon has tabbed everything where we need to sign it, but the loan agreement sets forth that the principal amount of the bonds, which is $900,000, these have been this bond issue has been voted on by the board of directors at the bond bank, and we've been approved to participate in the bond sale on May 18th.
And these are the 15-year bonds?
These are 15-year,
3%?
yeah, 3% total indicated or total interest rate calculation. So other towns are kind of getting into, I just want you to understand that this says 3.5%. Right now, if we got the bond as of Monday of this week,
Yeah.
it would have been 2.88. Okay.
Yeah, maybe-
So it's a moving target.
Yeah.
But what this paperwork says is if the rate on the sale date is above 3.5%,
There's
we
not
do not have to do it,
Okay.
okay? So we could go back to Northway and say, we'll take your 3.5% at 15 years,
Which probably won't be there.
which probably wouldn't be there if we had that kind of change in the rates, okay? But we do not this deal with the bond bank if it's above 3.5%.
Okay.
So I think the 3% is right around there.
Well, let's see what happens.
Okay, so, right, the president may tweet and it may be 4, so who knows? So the votes that you take today are votes on the resolution that's in your packet. And then you're gonna vote to authorize Mike to sign on behalf of the town as chairman to actually enter into the note. It then gets countersigned by the treasurer and by the town clerk and gets sealed, and then we mail it off to you. I don't know that you want to go down through all the resolutions unless you want everybody to know what you're resolving.
Well, I think we're resolving.
It's like a 9-page.
Yes, we're resolving to borrow the amount of $900,000 at a rate of no higher than 3.5%
Correct.
for 15 years to be used to fund the projects that were voted for at town meeting in March of 2017.
Sounds
Awesome.
perfect.
Is there a second on that?
I second.
Okay, now the second resolution would be
We have a
to,
vote on that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. The second resolution is, it would be resolved that I, as chairman of the Board of Selectmen, can enter into an agreement that will be co-signed by the town treasurer and town to take this money and agree to repay it back from tax funds and other sources that are collected through the town over the 15-year period. Is there a second on
I will second that.
that? Is there a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
So seconded.
So don't go anywhere without signing the paperwork. Please.
All right.
So that is.
Are there any board concerns or directives?
We're all set.
All right. So do we have anything from now?
One personnel thing that
Okay.
I'd like to quickly go over.
Great. So can we get a motion to go into non-public? Second.
Second.
Oh. All right, four in favor, aye, we'll go into non-public.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Matt.
We're gonna